Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is of course HD Starcraft, and I am coming back at you guys with Game 2 from the OSL/WCS tournament that happened last week. And this is going to be between of course EG Jaedong and CM Storm Polt, the blue Terran in the bottom left hand corner. And this has been a great start. It's been a good series. First game obviously was the only one I've guessed, but it was a great start to the series. And this is going to be, of course, Game 2. If you guys haven't seen Game 1 yet, I highly recommend you guys stop this video now and check it out. Very, very good game. And now this is going to be, of course, Game 2. And two of, like I said before, Korea's finest players going at it here. And Jaedong looking to prove that, he is not a second place Stork. He is a first place champion, and he will not settle for second again. He is going to try to take it all the way here. And of course that starts with taking out Polt in this set of games, and he did, and I guess I'll go ahead and say it now, he did win the first game. He did lose the first game to Polt. After Polt was able to pressure him down by continually reinforcing into the fourth expansion and finally being able to push it off. But you know what, Jaedong, even though he loses the first game, he's not the type of player that is just going to lose his composure over something like that. You know, he's going to take a few seconds, breathe it in, breathe it out, and he will be able to recompose himself here for Game 2 between Polt. And, losing a game like that against Polt, it's not a big deal because Polt, one of his greatest strengths is going into the macro game, especially Terran versus Zerg. I think many would argue is his best matchup. When you go into the late game against a player like Polt, it is not an easy feat. His macro is one of the best that you'll ever see, and you can see there that Polt was able to pressure Jaedong down with just purely marine power. And we'll see what happens here on Newkirk Precinct. Obviously, this is another big map, actually a lot bigger than the first map that we saw the two players battle on. And that leads me to believe that we'll have another macro game here, and hopefully this time Jaedong doesn't end up falling too far behind in supply against Polt. Polt has a knack of doing that against most players. He'll always shoot up in supply because his macro is just so godly. Jaedong, hopefully he doesn't let that happen again, and hopefully we'll get to see a little bit of hive tech from Jaedong. And I know, his signature is, Mutalisks, but if you ever have to play a game of TVZ against JD, you do not want him to go up to Hive Tech. You probably just want him to finish you nice and quickly on Layer Tech so it's painless and there isn't any suffering. But if Jaedong gets up to Hive, it is a whole nother story. So anyways, we'll see what happens here as the early few moments of this game are beginning to develop. Obviously, there has been a new game, or at least a beta of the game that has been released from Blizzard here called Hearthstone, the trading card game. I actually have not played it, but I'm told that it is pretty fun. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that game. Maybe when it comes out, I could get an account and check it out. I used to actually play a lot of Magic the Gathering when I was a kid. In high school even, we used to gather in the lunchroom and play Magic. I don't know how nerdy you guys were, but I was pretty nerdy, alright? So I used to play a lot of MTG, and that was a lot of fun. So I would imagine this game Hearthstone coming out from Blizzard is going to be pretty awesome as well. Anyways, actually I still have some of my cards for Magic the Gathering. I don't know if you guys ever played it, but I have some Morphlings, I have some Force of Wills. I don't have a Black Lotus or anything like that because I would be a baller if I did. But anyways, maybe too much nerdiness here. If you guys never played Magic the Gathering, then you might want me to shut up. But for those of you true fans of trading card games, that was where it all started. I also have a Charizard too for Pokemon. Anyways, getting into this game here, what is going to happen? Polt is going to build up a wall at the front door. He's got a bunker, supply depots, another command center. And no surprise there that he's building a CC, obviously. On Newkirk Precinct, it's such a big map. You would expect most players to go into macro mode and, get a lot of expansions going. If I was Polt or Jaedong here, and I'm not, but if I was, I knew how, games go on Newkirk Precinct, which I do, I would imagine you would want to build up a lot of expansions right away. You want to get a third down. You want to get a quick CC out here. But you don't want to overextend yourself either. That opens up the door to getting all in. So you can see both players have been setting up a nice start to this game here. And now the first blood is going to get spilled, at least I think so, as Polt has brought a couple of Hellions over, trying to flamethrower down the Scorpion inside the hatchery. But the Scorpion is well protected inside the cocoon. It will not go down. More Hellions are coming out though, as is a pair of Widow Mines from the factory. And it looks to be a similar strategy opening here for Polt. Jaedong is going to be adding in some roaches here, and he's also fortified this front door quite nicely. No Hellions are going to be running into the natural anytime soon here. And look at this, Jaedong's actually going for a 4th hatchery very quickly as well. And basically Jaedong's strategy here is, okay, I'm going to hatch real quickly, I'm going to get my exterior hatcheries down, but I'm not going to drone up. At least not until I've got this wall set up to make sure my drones are safe, and I got some roaches coming out of here. I actually really like this strategy from Jaedong. And basically, you know, what this does is it allows Jaedong to not fall behind in hatcheries, or bases I should say, and at the same time it keeps his drones safe until he can get some roaches out here to protect against the flamethrowers. And this is just beautiful from Jaedong. Look at this, he walls off the front like a Protoss would. Now these Hellions are going to get some drone kills nevertheless, but it isn't going to be too painful. And in the meantime, it looks like Polt is going to discover the hatchery at the top right hand corner, and now Polt's got to realize, oh wow, that was a pretty cool strat from the Zerg, and we'll see what he does here to counter this. But you know, I don't know if he really needs to do anything too special. Polt did get a macro CC very quickly, and when he sees that 4th hatchery, all he has to do is say, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and land the CC down and get it saturated. So now it is 3 bases to 4 bases, and you know, only 9 minutes in, 10 minutes in, very quick macro start for both of these players. And that's exactly what you want to see between these two high caliber Zerg and Terrans, because if they can get in the late game, get into their element, and both of them are on even footing, you can see here Jaedong's got the supply lead, as a Zerg should in ZvT, then we are going to be in store for a very good late game here between these two players, and that is exactly what I was hoping to see. Jaedong does have an Overseer kind of floating around and about, checking to see if there's anything going on here. He did discover the pocket expansion, and it looks like he's going to be bringing in a group of roaches. No, just gonna flex his muscles a little bit, and now he's going to run back onto the creep. And typically, I think a good idea for Zerg is wait until you get some creep spread towards the middle of the map before you commit to any attack. That way, if you need to retreat, you can quickly fall back onto the creep and get the hell out of there. So I think that's a good idea for Jaedong to wait. Polt is going to be building a couple of, look at this grid here, 3 bunkers and 4 Widow Mines. This is like a you know, some kind of defense you would see in the campaign mode or something. But this is actually really smart because he defends the open area in the middle of the map, and he can therefore protect both of his expansions, as well as the potential new expansion coming up over here as well. So a really nice setup right there from Polt, as he brings in some Marines here on the way for 2-2 upgrades, but currently 1-1 is completed, and he is going to try to go for a ground assault into this expansion. Going to try to pick off a couple of drones, but Jaedong has some roaches here. And I would imagine, oh, he's got infestors coming out. The infestors get taken out though, and both of them actually going down in very quick fashion. That was probably not what Jaedong was hoping for, as soon as his infestors came out, they were picked off by Polt's forces right there. And really, Polt, with a bit of a stroke of luck, had his forces in position just at the right time for those infestors to come out. And now he also gets a scout, and he knows, okay, Jaedong is going to switch up the game plan here in game 2, and he's going to be going for infestors. So if a Zerg player is going for infestors, typically a good time to attack is right now, before the infestors can really start to build up their energy and their numbers. Polt, knowing that, is going to come in here with his mines, some of them getting fungled before they could get underground. But I do believe, yeah, Drilling Claws actually is not researched yet. So it will take a little bit of time for those mines to get underground, but nevertheless, he is going to attack here. And this is the same strategy that Polt used in game 1. Just apply relentless pressure into Jaedong and see what Jaedong does about it. Will Jaedong crumble under the pressure here in game 2? We'll find out. There is also a medevac behind the main base trying to get in there and drop and do some damage, but a Spine Crawler, a Spore, and some Zerglings are ready and waiting. In the meantime, Jaedong bringing in some Zerglings and Banelings here, gonna try to get into the main base. No, he's gonna change his direction and go into this expansion instead, and oh no! A lot of SCVs could go down here. and about a decent number, not too much, about 4 workers going down. But unfortunately for Jaedong, not able to hit the jackpot there. More SCVs certainly could have gone down. In the meantime, though, bringing in the Zerglings and the Infestors and takes out the entire Terran containment in the middle of the map, but more reinforcements are coming in. In the meantime, the medevac also dropping behind the natural expansion as well. A lot of action going on in the middle of the map and in the sides of the map at the same time. Polt is going to try to take out the drones at the natural, but an Infestor and a group of Zerglings are there, and that is what happens when you try to drop inside Jaedong, man. He is ready and waiting. He's got his interior defenses set up all over the place, and reinforcement units are coming ready and waiting at all times. Jaedong able to clean that up very nicely, and this is the point I really want to make here. Jaedong is on Hive Tech, and he's got 3-3 adrenal glands and even an Ultralisk Cavern coming down at 15 minutes in. He will not be at the disadvantage that he was in game 2, in game 1. And remember what I said in the beginning of this cast, you don't want to face Jaedong on Hive Tech. It's already scary enough on layer, but Jaedong is going up to Hive Tech here, and pretty soon we are going to have Ultras coming out, 3-3 upgrades, adrenal glands, the works. In the meantime, Jaedong also attacking into this expansion, not going to allow it to land down, going to burrow down a Zergling underneath, of course. Very wise idea right there from JD. He's also got a group of Banelings building up on the top left-hand corner of the map, looking to possibly strike the SCVs. In the meantime, fungal growth coming down on these medevacs, locking them in position, not allowing them to go anywhere, and he is going to take out this group of medevacs. Very nice job here from Jaedong. Polt is under a lot of pressure here. He's got to get things together. He does reinforce once again with a group of Marines and Marauders, and that is just the thing that Polt just does so damn well. When it looks like he's under pressure from so many angles, he's able to bring in a new group of Marines and Marauders from almost out of thin air, and now it looks like he's gonna once again need to defend his SCV line, but these SCVs are gonna take a lot of damage. In the meantime, though, it looks like Polt is gonna return the favor with his Marauders and Marines. He might be able to take out this hatchery, in fact. We'll see what happens. It looks like the hatch is going to go down just before the Ultras hatch out, and great job right there by Polt. Very, very nicely done. In the meantime, a lot of workers and drones, SCVs and drones alike, have gone down in this game. But the main important point to take away here is Polt is not, he's not just laying down and saying, oh, you've killed so many of my SCVs, I surrender. No, he's attacking and attacking and attacking. He's applying relentless pressure, and he's actually been able to take out this pocket expansion of Jaedong. Now, unlike game 1, where Jaedong was relying on this expansion basically for his lifeblood, in this game, Jaedong was able to double hatch very early on, so he's got a backup base. He's on Hive Tech already, and this is a totally different scenario than the first game. Polt will have to really get it together here to deal with Jaedong on Hive Tech. And one of the ways of dealing with this is, I think, getting a lot of Marauders out on the field. Heavy Marauder production is typically the way you deal with Ultras, but you also have to be a little careful too. You don't want to go too heavy into Marauder production, because it's very easy for a Zerg to switch into Cracklings when they're on tier 3 already, and then you could just straight up lose. So it's a balancing act here for Polt, and a lot of times in the late game you'll see Terran players even go up to Sky Terran to combat tier 3 Zerg, because in reality battlecruisers are very good against tier 3 Zerg. And we'll see what happens here. It looks like the hatchery forced to be canceled once again. Snipe goes Polt. Very nice job right there, and forcing the cancellation of that hatchery. Of course, Jaedong did get the money refunded, but at the same time it hurts Jaedong, because he really needs that base up and running right now. He needs it functional to stay toe-to-toe with Polt. And here comes Jaedong bringing in all these Ultras. He's gonna just maul down this planetary fortress. A lot of explosions going down here. It looks like the PF is going to drop, and in the meantime these Ultras continuing to press in, but there's a lot of Marauders here. I think that Jaedong might want to pull back here, and he could even drop a couple of transfuses to replenish those Ultras. In the meantime, double medevacs dropping over here in the top right-hand corner. There's another medevac drop inside the Zerg main base. Action all over the place here. Jaedong really stretched thin, as is Polt. Both players trying to out-aggress one another in order to get the victory here. It looks like the Terran force has been destroyed inside the Zerg main base. Crackling is able to finish that off very nicely. In the meantime, some medevacs also loading up whatever forces they can, but flying right over a group of infestors. But Jaedong, not paying attention, didn't drop a fungal growth there. Could have locked out those medevacs from being able to retreat back home, but a missed opportunity right there from Jaedong. In the meantime, units lost here, 14k, 14k. This is an incredible Terran versus Zerg series. Both players are just standing neck and neck in this game. And knowing, you know, how high level this Terran versus Zerg is, it just really is watching like a work of art being painted right now on the landscape of Newkirk Precinct. And who is going to be able to get the victory at the end of the day? Both players are basically maxed out. Both players have a ton of bases. I'd like to see Polt get a 5th base up and running here at the top left-hand corner. It was destroyed earlier on, and these burrowed Zerglings are making sure that a new base doesn't come up anytime soon. But, you know, this is just an incredible series between these two, and it looks like Jaedong is going to come in once again. And he's got a large army here. He's also got creep spread on the ground to help assist this army to get out of the way or to maneuver in position quickly and efficiently. At the same time, we have Polt coming on the bottom with 3 medevacs. He's actually got a decent number of Marines and Marauders loaded up here. And it looks like he is going to go for a drop into the Zerg main base. At the same time, also bringing his Terran army into the middle of the map here. It looks like he's going to go for a multi-pronged strike. Unfortunately for Polt, Jaedong did see these medevacs coming in with his overlords that were positioned at the 6 o'clock. And it looks like, I see what Polt's doing. He's going to hide these medevacs in the back and try to distract Jaedong with the army attacking in the middle of the map. And he's going to drop those forces into the Zerg main base. We'll see what happens here. Will Jaedong be able to clean this up? At the same time, he's also destroying some mules and SCVs at the pocket expansion. A lot of fungal roads coming down here. It looks like Polt is going to be able to win the battle in the middle of the map, and this army that was dropped inside the main base is going to be able to cleave through the greater spire at the same time as well. Jaedong in a lot of trouble here, but he does bring his ultras back. Wow, those ultras are really heavily upgraded. They just mawed down those marauders like nobody's business. The spawning pool and the spire will need to be rebuilt, as will this hatchery at the middle of the map. But Jaedong didn't really, you know, you'd think he took a lot of damage there, but at the same time, he did a lot of damage as well. He killed off the entire Terran army. He also destroyed a huge chunk of SCVs and meals at the pocket expansion, so he is not really that far behind right now. You'll look at the supply, 150 to 136, and he still has the standing army here of Zerglings and Ultras, and Banelings are coming through as well. So if he wants to launch a counterattack, I would argue not a bad time to do it. He could certainly maybe take out this expansion here, or even go for an attack in the middle of the map here, maybe over to this pocket expansion at the same time. It looks like he's going to go over to the north where Polt's forces are rendezvousing, but Polt quickly pulls out of the way. He knows that he is in a dangerous situation right now because he just lost most of his army, and he needs to rebuild right now in order to really stand toe-to-toe with Jaedong once again. Yeah, and this is where Polt's macro will really shine through. Will he be able to pump Marines like nobody's business? He's got a lot of barracks at home. He's got a ton of reactors, but the problem is he doesn't really have that much minerals to work with. That is the problem of losing that 5th expansion earlier on at the 10 o'clock position. He needs to get that expo up and running. In the meantime, thinking about making an attack up here to the northeast corner, but quickly surrounded by ultras from the back, and this is not a good position for CM Storm Polt, but he's got a lot of widow mines here. Will he have enough forces left over, trying to retreat behind the mineral lines in order to protect his Marines and Marauders? Will he have enough Marauders left behind here? It's going to be a battle to the end, and it looks like he just barely has enough to win this fight. Incredible. And it looks like Polt is going to take out this hatchery. Oh my sickness. Wow, what a game. And Polt edges out the victory there just barely. I mean, literally, if you could draft an entire army there from your citizens of your country, I don't think anybody would raise their hands to voluntarily go to war in a battle like this, because literally, look at the survival rate. It's like less than 1%. There are 3 forces survived out of like 100. I guess that would be 3%, but literally that was not a good survival rate. But at the end of the day, all that matters is the W, and Polt here getting a moral victory there at the very least. I think a substantial victory at least in killing the hatchery. And don't forget, he did win game 1, so he needs to win this game here in order to really get a momentum swing against Jaedong and keep the train rolling here. We'll see what happens. It looks like he's reinforcing in the middle of the map, thinking about making an attack over to this hatchery. Jaedong now is the one who's running a little bit low on money, and he needs to bring these ultras and Zerglings in to clean this up. Ultra Ling, one of the most powerful Zerg compositions in the late game. But does he have enough to deal with this army? There is a Seeker missile from a Raven as well, taking out Infestors. and Jaedong is going to be forced to pull all the way back home. In fact, he is already back home. He just doesn't have anything in the tank here. And I think Polt's style of continual aggression is starting to break the back of Jaedong. Not much that Jaedong can do about this. He does bring a huge wave of banelings in, though. Oh my god, crashing through billions of SCVs. Exactly what he needs to do, and really taking out the SCV count of CM Storm Polt right there. Nice job. Now the thing is, Jaedong does have a lot of infestors. Theoretically, if he can get these infestors back and safe and allow them to build up enough energy, he could actually win this battle because he's got a infinite wave of forces, but the problem is these Ravens are not going to allow them to just sit back and build up energy, and Jaedong realizing that is going to be called out, and he is going to have to GG. So CM Storm Polt was victorious for yet a second game in a row. This one was really good, 28 minutes long, and just a battle to the death. But Jaedong at the end of the day was forced to GG. We're going to go on to game 3 now. Hope you guys enjoyed, and this is HD signing out.